we simply can't afford. The partial solution to both the carbon footprint problem and the type 2 diabetes problem is to give us greater access to public transit, walking, and cycling in the design of our cities. It's a single investment that will get answers on two areas that are important to society and help us secure our future. We're not moving to see the synergy or the crossover between these things, and that's where more attention needs to be paid.
So, David, I'm going to put you guys on hold for 5 minutes, if you will. Just stay with us. I have Alexandra Mitchell on the phone. It's good morning from here, Alexandra. What's the time frame where you are?
It's just before 8 o'clock p.m. where I am.
So, Alexandra, you are a student out of Abbotsford. You're 17, 16 years old?
I'm 16 years old, and I'm in grade 12 in Abbotsford.
Unbelievable. And how long have you been in Copenhagen now?
I have been here since last Sunday, so I'm just finishing up my second week, and it's been quite the experience so far.
I bet. So give us a rundown shortly. I mean, you've been there. We're going to ramp up all these heavy wigs, big shots, premiers and presidents. I guess they're rolling in now. There's a little bit of panic that maybe it's time to get some things done. But before we talk about that, what were your first impressions, Alexandra?
Well, first of all, the feeling of the conference has definitely changed from when I first arrived to where we're at now. When I first arrived, it was interesting because I think it was very relaxed. You got your registration, you were in, and there's just always a lot going on at the COP. There's side events happening the whole time. There's different plenary sessions and everything, but it was definitely much more relaxed. It was interesting for me because this is my first time attending an event like this, just to see how much is going on at one time, because you really feel like you want to do everything. You want to take everything in, but you can't. You have to be selective about what you choose. And coming into this week, it's just ramped up so much more. And I think it's all started with the big public demonstration this Saturday, which was thousands of people walking through Copenhagen. And ever since then, there's been a great deal of protesting, and now that all of the governmental leaders are arriving, there's tons of media, tons more protesting, and it's the energy of the conference has definitely changed.
So it's changed, and so what are the expectations now? You feel the buzz. What are the expectations?
Well, yeah, I feel like there's that sense of urgency on acting on climate change has grown even more, and with the events that have happened in the last few weeks of the conference, you can see I've sort of lost my voice. So with the events that have happened in the last little while, what with countries sort of leaving discussions and the lack of action that's been taken so far, a lot of the different groups that are outside of the main delegations have really started amping up their acts of civil disobedience, I guess you could say, just because we're nearing the end of the conference. We haven't really accomplished too much yet, and people feel like something needs to be done. They're all calling for a fair, legally binding treaty on climate change, and there's tons running out on that. So,
well, let me put it this way. When I was your age, and that was a long time ago, by the way, I used to run around with a backpack with a Canadian flag on the back. What we're hearing here with the media, the CBC, is Canada's getting a bad rap, and probably deservingly so. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, well, I was actually on CBC the other night talking about it, and it was funny because I brought some Canada pins and was bringing some things for trading, and they haven't been that popular because Canada really has a bad rap here, and it's unfortunate because it's what I'm calling erosion of the Canadian legacy. For so long, Canada has had this great reputation, whether it's been from peacekeeping and other just great acts we've done, and unfortunately that's eroded by the fact that we're not acting on climate. And the inaction by our government has really fit to how other countries are looking at Canada. So we're not the leaders anymore. In fact, we've been the ultimate fossils. Canada has won the Fossil of the Day award for holding up discussions and progress at the COP15 for a few days in a row already. And it's unfortunate because I'm a very proud Canadian, and I'm there wearing my Canadian clothing and everything else because I want to show that Canadians do care. There are Canadians here that are really passionate about making a difference, and we're just trying to urge everybody to get on their phones and their emails and start making this conference an issue and something that's of importance to our government.
Well, Alexandra, 16-year-old Alexandra, we are very proud of you for representing us in British Columbia and Canada. You're starting to break up. I'm sure there's a lot of landlines in Copenhagen there that people are using, and we're very fortunate to have you on the line. When you come back in the new year, do you think we can get together and maybe have a little panel and do more of this sort of thing?
You bet. I have tons of information to share and lots of stories to tell. But also for now, if anyone's interested, this whole entire time that I've been here, I've been posting information and such on my website, which is www.plugoutttunein.com. So anyone can check it out and follow what's been happening with some videos and photos and blogs.
Awesome, and thanks for joining us this morning, and do get some sleep, and stay away from any viruses out there when you get on an airplane home. Stay healthy, and you are truly an inspiration and a leader, and I look forward to seeing you in the new year. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Well, thanks for having me. It was great talking to you.
Thanks, Alexandra.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay. We have Alexandra Morton. There's a slip. Alexandra Morton, of course, is another leading edge advocate against the fish farms. But we're talking to Alexandra Mitchell, all the way from Copenhagen. What a breath of fresh air that is! And David and Ms. Joan Sawicki, you're still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I don't know if you were able to hear a little bit of that, but
yes, we could.
It's really quite inspirational when you have young people who are stepping up the way they have. We left you the conversation on globalization, David. I'm sorry to cut you short on there, but it's a conundrum, isn't it? With all the consumption coming through, I see in my community, for example, Delta, South Fraser-Primer Road, the expansion of the port, destruction of farmland, all for what? To bring commodities and goods to Walmarts throughout North America.
Yeah, Walmartization, which is the true face of globalization, and all based on shaving pennies at the margins. And we seem to be very easily led around by this. The endless distractions of a consumer society in which we save at the margins. I don't know. I think that I hope it doesn't take a massive crisis to wake humanity up, but you sometimes think that's what it may take. We have an extreme vulnerability in our dependence on oil, in particular today. I'm one of those who thinks that if we haven't passed peak oil, we're passing it. And on the downside, and I suspect it will be as we come off this recession, if the global economy really does take off again, and the impact of China and India are felt, we will see dramatic rises in the cost of petroleum products, which will translate into dramatic increases in the cost of all commodities. But it will have a huge impact on food. And
but David, let me interrupt you. I mean, what we hear constantly, and Joan, jump in.